So 6.10, the chapter has finally, mercifully come to a conclusion. I warned you on 6.1 to brace yourself for a long chapter. And we're finally done reading, but we're still going. It'll be another probably 2 weeks of calendar time or more before the chapter's actually wrapped. With Thanksgiving in the way, killing a week. But so here we go. 1 is the Roman numeral. 2 is ternary, Ternary. Ternary, words like that, a lot of T words have to do with threes, like triangles and tripods. And tertiary is like third place stuff. But ternary, Ternary, are compounds with 3 different elements. Then I left a humongous gap where if you want to copy down some of this, examples, we'll get there in a minute, but not quite yet. 3 and 4, a lot of open-ended possible choices. So things that the book mentions, it's the source of all the energy on Earth. There's different wavelengths. There were things like X-rays, ultraviolet, radio waves, TV, Roy G. Biv, all different kinds of radiation. They talked about molecules and ions can absorb certain wavelengths, matter can emit light, and much more stuff. That's just some stuff that I wrote down. Some stuff about phosphoric acid. It's prepared industrially. They talked about wet acids. They talked about furnaces. There's fertilizers used for salt in foods like cheeses. It's an additive in detergents and cured meats. Colas, root beers might have that in there. It can also remove rust. So when you drink a cola or a root beer, you're drinking something that might be able to remove rust. I don't know if that's really the best idea for our diets, but nevertheless. Question on first 6 new-ish questions. If you're reading something that you know was in the box, give them their point. If you're not sure, look at the box, see if you can find it, or make them find it. Nothing, top 6. 7, we're back to oldies. Coordinate bond, pair of electrons on one atom. Lewis structures, drawing the electron dot formulas for all the elements. Arranging the atoms to obey the rule of 8, with hydrogen obeying the rule of 2. You start with the central atom, that's the least electronegative, and it's not hydrogen. Anything about the front. To the back, there's structural formulas, bond angles, double bonds, triple bonds, polyatomic ions, and then VS, EPR. If you have the 5 letters out of order, I'll still give you half a point on that for VS, EPR, for valence shell electron pair repulsions. Then I'll pause. 18, anything? 19 is linear, it's 180 degrees, and then something like this. Central atom, and then just draw some bonds in a straight line. Trigonal planar is 22, that's 120 degrees. So something that you like, it's going to make almost like a peace sign looking thing. So we surround that with 3 items. 25 tetrahedral is 109.5. So tetrahedral, go central atom, going behind the board, a little skinny triangle kind of thing that you solidify, and then 1 normal line going in some direction. If you switch those up, it doesn't really matter, okay? But you do need 1 regular segment, 1 crazy triangle, 2 of the dotteds, but if you move who's where, life goes on. And then just surround that with some kind of mystery element. X marks the spot. Bent. For bent, you would replace any 2 of those X's with an electron pair, and it does not in the least matter which ones it is. Pyramidal, we could restore one of those electron pairs back to an X. It would have 3 X's and 1 electron pair, and it makes no difference whatsoever which is which. 32 is positive, 33 it equals the total of the negatives. Question? about 6K. So peeking into the future, today is Tuesday before Thanksgiving on this calendar as we record. Other years your calendar may fall in a different place, but one class away is a 47-point ion quiz, where it'll be all the ones on the table, all the ones you memorized, all 47 ions. That is the next quiz. So for us, that's our return in exactly a week from our week off to some ions. Wednesday would be a massive vocab quiz with 83 points on it. So you have the practice test. We've been trimming questions and adding questions and trimming questions and adding questions. And when you put it all back together, this chapter had 83 points. And that seemed like a better thing to not do on our return. So that's like 2 days down the line. There'll be probably a built-in homework. Let's catch up and talk about homework day, but that will involve people actually doing the homework and then asking me questions. So we'll see how that goes. If that seems like that's not going to happen, then I would just take a pass on that because that's just a waste of a day. But the practice test is coming soon. So if there are homework progress and there are homework questions, that would probably happen like Thursday-ish and the practice test Friday-ish. Like 4 class days away when we return, but I won't rule out the practice test might be 3 classes away if it seems like the homework discussion would be pointless. But practice test is a coming sometime next week. Question about that? The newest assignment is a 17 to 21, so here's 5 examples that illustrate what in the world is going on the 17 to 21, and there's another assignment after that that's the thing they call the general problems that there's nothing more for me to teach you to do those. You would just someday just do them. It's based on a little bit of everything through the chapter, and that includes that chapter quiz that we always do. The general problems, I don't think are as hard as the general problems sometimes are. Sometimes those general problems are mean. These don't look mean. These look like fairly normal, and the chapter quiz is pretty much always normal. The chapter quiz doesn't usually have anything bad in it, but that would be an assignment for next week that exists. So today's is a 17 to 21. So 17 will say to you, using the periodic table, indicate a maximum positive oxidation number for each of the following elements. If they're nonmetals, give both the maximum positive oxidation number and the negative oxidation number. So how do you know if you have a nonmetal? It's on the right side, and the metals are therefore on the left side. So they say if you don't know the symbols, look them up, but they should be mostly symbols of stuff that we learned. So this periodic table that I just gave you today that is in the book, if you lose it or don't have it for whatever reason, is probably the best periodic table for this game. So they'll give you an element like beryllium, and you'd have to find beryllium. Beryllium is in column number 2. And then this table tells you the maximum positive oxidation number is a positive 2. On we go. For fluorine, that is over in column 17 or 7A if you like Roman numerals better. Those are called the whos? Halogens. And if you forgot that, it's okay because it's there. It's at the very, very top. It tells you it's the halogens. How about that? So this table gives you a double answer for that. It tells you if you want to go positive, we could go with positive 7, or if you want to go with negative 1. Since this is in column 7, it has 7 electrons, which I guess it could just give them all away and have a positive 7 charge. But it seems more likely to me with 7, it would just gain 1 to get to 8 and be a negative 1 charge. But the non-metals, they want you to play both games. The metals just do the positive. Question about 17, the game that they're playing. 18, they want you to use the periodic tables, get those numbers and things, and write a name. This is basically like exactly what we practiced yesterday. So we did that whole sheet yesterday where we wrote down symbols from names. And then in theory, you did homework number 16 and homework number 15 and did that over and over and over again. They just want us to write a formula. So calcium, you need to know is Ca. Find it on the table. It's in column 2, which means it has a charge of positive 2. And you might be starting to know those. I don't know. I knew calcium was going to be positive 2 before I looked at the table. I've seen calcium enough time in my life. I don't know if you have yet, but to know calcium is positive 2 is not a bad thing.
Br.
Bromide is bromine, which is a Br, and maybe you've done that enough already. Maybe you know what that charge is. You don't find it on the table. It's a -1. So if this has a charge 2, and this has a charge of 1, we need 2 bromines to even that out, and that's the kind of game you're playing in number 18, the same game we played yesterday, 15, 16, and 5. Something about that. 19 is just a pattern finding. So what they're going to do is tell you, we're working from a stack in the periodic table, and there should be, if you have a stack of stuff from the periodic table, there should be like a trend that you could follow. So they might say, like, mystery element X has whatever is 100, mass, boiling point, whatever, some sort of fact. It doesn't matter what the fact is. Y checks in with 120, and they want you to make an educated guess that Z would be
140.
140, because you would just sense that it went up 20 and like do it again. Or if they told you the 140, you could figure out the middle if you did the average. It's just going to be sort of like a pattern find the missing number kind of game on 19. Question about 19. 20, they're going to give you the name of some kind of a compound and ask you to predict a formula for one of its cousins. So they'll tell you, for example, magnesium chloride is this. Done for you. If they tell you magnesium, why can you predict calcium?
Is it in the same column?
They're in the same column. And if they tell you something about chlorine, bromine is in play because
Same column.
they're in the same column. So if magnesium was giving you just an Mg, calcium must be just giving you a Ca. If this chlorine thing needed parentheses, then the bromine thing gonna need parentheses. This was a Cl with an O3 and a 2. This must be a Br
With a 3 and a 2.
with an O3 and a 2. So you're just going to kind of play like switchy games. As long as they stick in the same columns, you're going to be able to just write the names without even having to think about the charges and do what we did yesterday. Just play element switchies from the column. Something there. And then the last one will say, using the periodic table, classify these as ionic or covalent. So here's a set of 3 rules that you want to jot down probably as we say them. I'll just go one rule at a time and we'll find that rule. So the simplest rule to be ionic is if it's ternary. What did ternary mean? Has 3 different elements. So out of my choices, A, B, C, D, E, F. F. This is ionic because it had 3 different elements in it. So 3 different elements is ionic. Anything ternary is ionic. That's the simplest rule. Question about that rule. Medium rule is if you have F or O with a metal. So F or O with a metal. Do we have any of those? E, to be sure, you should check your periodic table. Is Cr a metal? Yes, because it's somewhere toward the left. So metals to the left. This is ionic, because F with a metal, that's a winner. You have any others that are in play for that? F or O with a metal?
C.
C. And we don't need to look and see if that's on the left, if you know that Ag is, which is definitely a metal without question. So that's ionic, that's F or O with a metal. Who else is under consideration? D. This is F or O. Is S a metal? No, because sulfur's on the right. It's actually in the same column as oxygen. Right? Yeah. So maybe not ionic. Maybe it is, maybe under this third rule, but not based on that rule. Question about that rule, F or O with the metal. I'm sure these three rules will make the practice test, like the three rules for ionic. I'm sure that's it. Then the last rule is sort of lengthy. So, and a little bit detailed. So the last rule is column 1A, not hydrogen though, or column 2A with somebody from column 6, loophole, S and O only, or 7A. Yeah, I'll go again. So the basic outline is column 1A or column 1A, 2A with a column 6A, 7A, but not quite perfectly. It's column 1A, never hydrogen, or 2A, combining with column 6A, which is S or O only, or 7A. Oof. So one more time. It's column 1A or 2A. In the big picture, without the details, it would be column 1A or 2A stuff combining with column 6A or 7A stuff. But the technicalities are column 1A, hydrogen doesn't count. And then column 6A, it's S and O only count. So let's look for our columns.
A.
So what column is CS? I don't know that.
1.
CS is in 1, CL is in
7.
7, so that is ionic. There were no loopholes on cesium or chlorine. Where are S and O?
Both in 6.
Both in 6. So 6 combining with 6, that's not a thing. We would need 6 combining with something from 1 or 2. So that's covalent. Strontium
2.
is in 2.
Iodine's in 7.
Iodine's in 7, so
Yes.
yes, ionic. 6 was the fussy column, and hydrogen's just always fussy. So ionic, 5 out of 6 there. And then it's covalent if it's not ionic. So 17 to 21, those are the games you're playing. Again, next time, ions quiz, 2 times from now, giant 83 point, lots and lots and lots of vocab. But the good news is, what have I said numerous times we would eventually do on some of the vocab. Bonus. There's probably 10 out there. Am I going to tell you what they are? No. Hey, every time that I'm like, hey, write this down, this will be bonus. Write this down, this will be bonus. Write this down, it will be bonus. It's time for the bonus. Here's one I didn't tell you that I'll tell you now. In the area today where we had the equal to the total negative charges, I don't think I ever threw out at you to use the simplest whole number ratio. So use simplest whole number ratio as part of writing formulas. In other words, there is no you can't say H5O10. No. H10O5. That's not a thing.
Just do 2 and 1.
What is a thing is
H2O.
H2O. Would that have balanced charges? Yes. But no, we're not we're wanting to do GCF kind of math or something here, like reducing fractions kind of math. You want the simplest whole number ratio. It also means you can't have C1 H1.5 O1. That's not a thing.
Just 2, 3, 2.
C2H3O2, that's a thing. Okay, so we're not getting into decimals or fractions in our formulas, and we're not gonna do like giant numbers if we could use littler numbers. Did I tell you bonus on that VSEPR?
If we actually say what they are, yeah.
Yeah. So if you know that, that's in play. I think every other day I remember to tell you the bonus, so if you jotted those down here, there, and everywhere, there's maybe 10, 12 of those, I bet. There's a lot. There's been a lot of bonus stuff that I've advertised, so try to poke around on those. But if you have a question and you want to verify with me sometime, I would do that, but I'm not looking to sit down and tell you what they all were in one big swoop, because I've already done that. Questions? Anything? About anything? So we're at